First tonight, a Ukrainian refugee has been telling us how she's trying to rebuild her life in Nottinghamshire after losing her father in the war. He was killed just a fortnight after Anastasia Chernik fled the country. Well, now Anastasia's moved in with her mum and her British stepdad. But she's one of several thousand Ukrainians who've now arrived here in the East Midlands. Our social affairs correspondent Jeremy Ball reports.
I can see it's looking
A new start in Edwinstowe, but Anastasia won't forget the life she left behind.
It's my kitchen.
Anastasia used to run a beauty salon in Kiev, but the war forced her to leave, to abandon her apartment, her home.
I had amazing life, honestly. I have my flat, I have a lot of friends, job, I had university. I just lost everything in one moment. Everything.
Now Anastasia's moved in with her mum, who arrived here 2 years ago after marrying her British stepdad. They're helping her come to terms with losing her own father. He was killed defending Ukraine only weeks after Anastasia left.
He was lost in action in the middle of May. I got a phone call from her mother crying down the telephone. Her dad's dead, you know, which is horrific, really. And you can imagine how that was for the following few weeks, with everybody destroyed.
I wanted him to see how I will get married, my child. It's very hard because he was healthy, everything with him was good, and just because of war, one moment and person died. But I'm very proud of him.
And moving on's been a struggle because Anastasia needed one of these. This is her mum's British residence permit. The delay meant she couldn't apply for work or a university grant. Now her card's finally arrived after a 10-week wait.
It's very, very, very big impact. Just to sit in the room and do nothing, it's not for me. Because of this, I think about war every second, search news, search each bomb, each missile. Yes, it's destroying my life.
But Anastasia says she's grateful for all the kindness she's been shown here and happy she's safe in what she calls an amazing country.
Oh, Jeremy, there's so many heart-wrenching stories, aren't there, coming out from Ukraine? But one of the questions, what about the long-term prospects of people who are here now?
I think that is the really big question now, and because, this war's dragging on, very little prospect of most of these people being able to go back to Ukraine. Now, we know people are starting to get jobs here. The really big concern, though, is where they're going to live. We've already seen 48 Ukrainian households become homeless here in the East Midlands. Now, the worry is that could soon be the tip of the iceberg because, as you know, most of these families are living with hosts. Those hosts only had to give a 6-month commitment, and that 6-month deadline is approaching fast now.
It's a bit scary, isn't it? And are people, still arriving from Ukraine?
Yeah, they are. We're getting regular updates on the numbers arriving through what's known as the Homes for Ukraine scheme. Now, that's where refugees are sponsored by strangers. Over 4,000 arrivals across the East Midlands so far. The largest numbers in rural areas, Derbyshire, Lincolnshire, where they tend to be larger houses. In addition to that, hundreds of Ukrainians have now moved in with relatives here in the East Midlands. So huge amounts of generosity. Worth putting these numbers into perspective, though. This country has still taken less than 2% of Ukraine's refugees.
Which is not a big figure, really, is it? Jeremy, thanks very much indeed for that.